Hi, and welcome to this episode of Sports Bets for Free. My name is Scott Jenkins. I'm your host, just a local sports bettor here in the Phoenix, Arizona area, giving you my picks. So hopefully you can make some money along with your picks. And today we're going to go over the NFL Week 3. We did have the Thursday night game. I don't know if it was profitable for anybody, but for those of you who had Cleveland and had a lot of under stuff, except maybe total on the game, definitely made some money. Najee Harris was pretty much the one lone bet that we got, over 2.5 receptions, and he got those in the first half. And then, of course, they decided to make him the new left tackle because their left tackle couldn't hold up against Myles Garrett. So not to be bitter about that game, but we will get moving on here because we do have a ton of plays for this NFL Sunday. So just want to get you those so that way you can compare them with what you currently have for yourself. So there's gonna be a lot of prop bets here. So make sure you check out the Google Sheet afterwards, so that way you don't have to sit here and write everything down. Maybe just take in what we're talking about here. So Davis Mills, over 214.5 passing yards. He's been around. He was above this number, below this number so far this year. But we do like them, especially going against the Bears. I think the Bears got extremely lucky to figure out how to win Week 1. And then I think they showed themselves in Week 2 against the Packers. So should be a lot of easy completions, I think, for Davis Mills. So we do like him there at the over 214.5 passing yards. Jared Goff, I can't believe I'm betting on Jared Goff, right? But that Detroit Lions team has got something cooking, offensive line-wise, defensive line-wise, and also skill positions. So when you have good skill positions players like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Josh Reynolds is coming around, you got TJ Hawkinson, and their biggest one out of the backfield in DeAndre Swift. You've got a lot of weapons to throw the ball to. Over 244.5 passing yards is where we grabbed it at. I've seen it as high as like 265, so definitely one of those that's on the way up. So just keep that in mind on that one. So Davis Mills and Jared Goff over on their passing yards, both at 3-unit plays for us. Garrett Wilson kind of busted out big time last week with a couple touchdowns and 100 yards. And his line, for some reason, is still extremely low, even though he's got this in the first 2 weeks. So over 44.5 receiving yards for Garrett Wilson, minus 130, and that is a 5-unit play for us through DraftKings this week. Amon-Ra St. Brown, we went to the well here again. This numbers also went up. We're able to grab it at 69.5 receiving yards at minus 115 for a 5-unit play for us. I believe he's up to 74.5 on DraftKings now. I do like him to get basically right around 6-7 catches, 80 yards. I think is a good stat line, or more of an average game for him. He tore up the last 6 weeks of last season, and he started off well the first 2 weeks of this season as well. So Amon-Ra St. Brown, over 69.5 receiving yards for a 5-unit play. One of our biggest bets on Sunday is going to be Davante Adams. This numbers also went up. We grabbed it earlier in the week when it opened at 77.5 receiving yards. I think the last time I saw it today was around 82.5, 83.5. Still like the over on that without hardly any targets last week. Hunter Renfro's out of the game this week. We do like Davante Adams, like I said, quite a bit. One of our biggest plays of the weekend. Minus 125, a little heavy on the juice, but 10-unit play for us there on Davante Adams. Christian Kirk. This number's actually been going backwards. We were late to grab this one here, but when he went down to 57.5, I guess I don't understand how they think the Chargers defense is not going to allow any passing yards or something to that effect. So on that one, we did take Kirk. That seems to be his Trevor Lawrence's number one weapon. Over 57.5 passing yards for him at minus 115. That is a 5-unit play for us. Davante Adams getting back to, we made his the over receiving yards are one of our biggest plays of the weekend. We also like his receptions number at over 6.5 receptions at minus 125. That was just a 3-unit play for us on that one, though. Just to give you a heads up on that. And then we've also like the Chiefs. We're going to take the game line here. I don't understand why this line's going south, as the Colts look absolutely horrid. But we did grab them at minus 5.5 at minus 110 for a 3-unit play. Another team we really like this week is going to be Texans plus the 3 at the Bears. Kind of went over this earlier. I think the Bears are not good. I mean, I honestly, like I said, it was a give me win in week 1. I don't know what San Francisco was doing in that particular case there, but that was definitely one they shouldn't have won. And then they got their clock cleaned by Green Bay. I think the Texans have a really good opportunity here to win straight up. Plus the 3 at minus 120 for a 2-unit play, and that was through DraftKings. Then we get to Aaron Jones in the Tampa Bay game, the Green Bay game. Over 27.5 receiving yards. It stayed pretty steady, I think, for the most I've seen today as well, for a 2-unit play at minus 120. Another game that sounds, they always say these trap games or whatever, but has anybody seen the Patriots do something extremely well? No. So in the Ravens, if it wasn't for big secondary blunders last week, are 2-0 instead of 1-1. But Ravens minus 2.5 at minus 110. We did do a five-unit play on this one through DraftKings on that. A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown's had over 200 yards so far for the first 2 games of the season. Over 71.5 receiving yards is where we grabbed this. I think today I saw it around 74.5. 5-unit play for us at minus 115. Drake London, who's hit both weeks on his receiving prop, minus 125 for over 54.5. I believe he was at the same number of 55 today. Jalen Hurts, who we've really liked so far, he's been dominant when it comes to fantasy. A little bit different on the props. He's been really good on the rushing props. He's hit one of the passing props. But we're going back to the well. Over 240.5 passing yards for a 3-unit play at minus 115 for Jalen Hurts. And once again, last week we hit our biggest NFL play of the week. It was Lamar Jackson over 218.5 passing yards, and somehow he ends up with less when he threw for 320 last week. Over 214.5 passing yards. This is one of our biggest plays of the weekend again. 10-unit play. This one's actually playing plus money at 1.05. So plus 105 is where it's paying plus money, like I said, on that one. So definitely want to take a look at that one. That, again, it was up, but that is going to be one of our biggest plays of the weekend. Lamar Jackson over on the passing yards. And one of his targets, Rashad Bateman, went for over 100 last week, over 50 the first week. So he's averaging, right around the 70 ballpark. He's their big play threat. It was only 46.5 receiving yards. That was a 2-unit play. On Bateman, that was a 5-unit play for us at minus 130. So pretty heavy on the juice, but definitely we think he's going to at least be at 60 yards. So I think the line's off a little bit there. Chris Olave, over 38.5 receiving yards. I've seen it around the same number, 39.5, 40. 2-unit play at minus 135. Same game, we're actually taking Michael Thomas over 54.5 as he's beat those both weeks. Minus 115, it's going to be a 5-unit play for us. One of my favorite players to watch is going to be Deebo Samuel. We were taking the rushing part of his prop this week, rushing over 33.5 yards for a 5-unit play for us. Should have a big day against Denver. He does everything. I wish they would throw him the ball more. I think he's even more deadly in the pass game than the run game, but he's such a great runner. And with Elijah Mitchell out, and the leanness they have at running back, he's definitely going to see his share of carries as well. Then also, this game's been all over the board between the Bills and the Dolphins. Micah Hyde's going to be out, I guess, for the season now after his injury from last week. This line's been up and down. We did grab it at the Dolphins plus 5 on that one. 2-unit play for us at minus 110, but the Dolphins plus 5. Then we go back to the Green Bay-Tampa Bay game again. A.J. Dillon over 46.5 rushing yards at minus 115 for a 3-unit play. Dillon got over 50 yards late last week, getting that number again. I think they're going to try to run the ball as much as they can. The back end of that defense for Tampa Bay is pretty tough. So I think you're going to have to throw the ball short and you're going to have to run the ball. Kind of deals right into A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones hitting some of their totals. Then we go to Josh Reynolds, back to the Lions game. Josh Reynolds over 2.5 receptions, minus 105 for a 3-unit play. Then we go back to the Saints game again. Kamara over 2.5 receptions, minus 120 for a 3-unit play. Then we're going to do some anytime touchdowns. Amon-Ra St. Brown's got a touchdown in the first 2 weeks. We think he's going to the end zone again, and he's at plus 135 for a 1-unit play. Dameon Pierce, so I think late on in the year, should have a good fantasy run and some good yardage, but at plus 175, we want to see him get into the end zone this week. Javonte Williams in that Broncos game against the 49ers, he came in at plus 140 for a 1-unit play. Noah Brown for the Cowboys, and the only reason there's something between Cooper Rush and Noah Brown, I probably will not bet on another Noah Brown line if Dak Prescott was the quarterback, but with Cooper Rush back there, he seems to have something going on with Noah Brown, so we'll take an anytime touchdown at plus 225 on that one for a 1-unit play. And then we get into a few pass TD options. Mahomes over 2.5 passing touchdowns at plus 105 for a 1-unit play. Josh Allen over 1.5 passing touchdowns. This one's real heavy on the juice, though, at minus 200 for a 1-unit play. Tua in that same game against the Bills over 1.5 pass touchdowns at minus 125 for a 1-unit play. And then getting back to Lamar Jackson again, of course, we love his passing prop. Over 1.5 pass TDs was at plus 125. We hit that for a 3-unit play. I just think Lamar in general is probably primed to have another MVP type season. I just hope the team can kind of come with him on that one. Of course, we love DeAndre Swift. We seem to like his line every week, but over 21.5 receiving yards. The juice is heavy, minus 140, 4-unit play for us there. Josh Reynolds, who we took the over receptions prop of 2.5, so we probably better make sure we get us over 24.5 receiving yards as well. At minus 110 for a 1-unit play. Jared Goff, we took his passing total over. Now we're going to take his over passing touchdowns of 1.5 at minus 120 for a 2-unit play. Going back to DeAndre Swift, we'll pick him up on the rushing part this time at 47.5 yards, which is really low. His first 2 weeks have been high 50s, so this is definitely down. 5-unit play. Lamar Jackson, who we took the passing prop, the passing touchdown prop. Now we're hitting back over because he seems to be the only rusher for the Ravens at over 52.5 rushing yards for a 3-unit play. Then we've got Cam Akers. Killed us week 1. Week 2, he seemed to get out of the doghouse, but his rushing prop's pretty low at 36.5 yards, so we took the over on that one for a 2-unit play. Javonte Williams, who we've got for a touchdown. We also like his over 48.5 rushing yards for a 3-unit play. Tyreek Hill, of course, he's put up the first 2 weeks. I think he's got 250 yards or so receiving. He's hit this number by 20-plus yards each of the first 2 weeks. So we like it again at over 73.5 receiving yards for a 2-unit play. And then Terry McLaurin, the guy that seems to get 4 catches and 60-plus yards every week, but sometimes gets in the end zone and sometimes doesn't. Over 58.5 receiving yards for a 2-unit play, minus 115 at DraftKings. So you can see that there's quite a bit of prop and game action for week 3 for us in the NFL. So wanted to get you this as early as we possibly could. Make sure you check with with who you like to bet through, what kind of line that they have on that, and then compare it to what picks you really like, and if they match up, maybe it's a good way to go, help make some money. So far for the season between college and pro, going into this week, we were up, let's see here, 21, I want to say, my apologies folks, just a little over 21 units. So depending on how much you bet, you can kind of see it from there. But yeah, football-wise, we're over 21 units so far through the season. College football started off good on Thursday. Then we also hit our biggest bet for the whole weekend, early Saturday as well. So we started off on the right foot of college football. Just need to wrap this up with hitting a lot of these prop bets and everything for Sunday. I mean, the offense has obviously been down on Sundays the first 2 weeks. So we see a little bit more yardage explosion and scores. We're definitely going to see a lot more of these prop bets come in. So I wanted to thank you for joining me on this episode of Sports Bets for Free. You can catch us on Twitter at SportWager4, or you can look in the comment section below for the Google Sheet that'll show all of our plays, or you can reach us at sportsbetsforfree@gmail.com. And I look forward to talking to you next week.